Hey everybody, I want to do a demo and show you some of the basics of using Adobe Audition in order to record some sounds and then just some real fundamental editing stuff. So this is Adobe Audition. When you first open it up, you have an option to make a new file, and we're going to make a new multi-track session. This is what we're going to record into. So Adobe Audition has the ability to not only edit sounds that you've already recorded. So if you were using your phone or a handy recorder any sort of portable recorder, you can open up existing files. But Adobe Audition also has the ability to record straight into it, into what are called multi-track sessions. Is the easiest way to do it. So I'm going to name my section demo recording 01, and then I'm going to save it into my demo folder here. So you can save it into your project folder. And the reason why this is important is because when I do record sounds, those individual sound files that I've recorded are going to also save wherever I save this multi-track session. If these numbers are different, you can set the sample rate to 48,000 hertz, and you can set the bit depth to 24. You don't have to worry about too much of what that means, but these are essentially like the quality settings. Higher is better. These numbers are perfectly fine. Okay, so I hit OK, and then I'm presented with a new multi-track session. So just to give you a bit of a tour of what you're looking at, here are the individual tracks for audio. This is the playhead. As it plays along, you'll hear whatever is recorded into the different tracks. And if things overlap, you can think of this as layering. So whatever is here under the line is what you'll hear. You'll notice then each individual track has some different settings. This first one is the volume, so you can, it's set at 0, so you can turn it down or up from there. And then the second one is panning, so that's what this little icon is. So you can pan things from the left to the right channel. We're going to record things in stereo, and you can start playing around with what happens if you push the audio to the left or to the right. This window here shows you all the files you currently have open. Right now, we just have this session file open, and as we record individual sounds, those will also show up here as WAV files. So let's record our first sound. In order to do that, we have to go into Preferences, Audio Hardware, and we have to double check that the input, so under Audio Hardware, double check that the input is set to what we want to record from. So my recording device, what my microphone is currently hooked up to, is called a Mix Pre. It's a Sound Devices gadget. You can look it up if you're curious. But if you look here, you'll notice that you have whatever audio inputs are available on your computer. If it's your microphone from your laptop, that's perfectly fine. If you have a USB microphone plugged in that you've either bought or checked out from the output center, that would show up here. You'll also notice things like my webcam shows up, and when I have my Bluetooth headphones plugged in that have a microphone, those show up as well. So you can play around with even how the different sources you have available to you sound. The output, right now I have this set to a aggregated output device that I've created, which was necessary to put this demo together so that the recording could hear both my microphone sound and the sound coming from the program. But you'll notice also like any of the speaker systems that I have available, headphones, all these things are here. So if you have the system default set, that's whatever set in your sound preferences. Otherwise, you can set this to like your headphones. So when I hit OK, I've now chosen my audio input device, and I'm going to record into track 1. So in order to record into track 1, the first thing I have to do is I have to arm the recording, and that's the R here. And arming the recording is sort of standard audio language whenever you're working with a device. It's sort of the audio equivalent of looking through the lens or the viewfinder of a camera. So before you take your picture or before you shoot your video, you set up your shot. You look through the viewfinder, you see what the camera sees, and then you decide when you're ready to shoot. Arming the recording, I just did air quotes, quote unquote, arming the recording, whether it's Audition or whether it's one of the handy recorders or a field recorder, allows you to hear what the microphone or what the audio system is hearing, but without recording. So I'm not recording right now, but you can see these levels are moving around. And this is important because you want to make sure you get the levels close and accurate before you record. So if they're down here, that's too low and your sound is going to be very quiet. If they're up here and turning red, that's called peaking or clipping, and that's too high. imagine it on a visual scale. If you were taking a photograph and it was down here, that would be like no information. It would be like super dark and probably grainy and really crummy. And if you tried to brighten it up, you know that you see all that grain, you see all that noise. Then all the way up here, now this is if your image was like way overexposed. If it was huge white spots, totally blown out, there's no information there whatsoever. And so there just isn't anything you can do to get that back. So you really want to hit in this like 75% mark where it's just starting to turn yellow at like the loudest parts. So I can see this bouncing around. It's looking pretty good. I might even just turn it up just a little bit on my device here. There we go. Okay. So now I'm ready to record. The record button is here, and whatever I'm going to record is going to record here. The other thing I want to show you is here by default, this says track 1. I can change this name. So I'm going to say voice demo. Not only does that help me label this track, but when I record a sound here, it automatically adds the track name into the file name for what gets recorded. So if I do multiples, I'll get voice demo 1, voice demo 2. It's just a really handy way to record multiple things. Okay, so I'm going to record a quick little voice demo by hitting the record button, and then I'll start. Hello, welcome to Media Design. This is a demo on how to record sounds into Adobe Audition. I hope you're having a great week. Thanks for tuning in. So now you can see this is an audio file that I've recorded. It's saved it here, and you'll notice voice demo 01 because I named my track voice demo. The other thing I want to point out is you'll notice I paused for a moment as it started recording, and that can be really handy for doing like noise reduction and some other editing and mastering techniques that we'll get into later. But here I have my voice recording. So now I'm going to hit the space bar, which is the same as the play button, and we'll let it play. Hello, welcome to Media Design. This is a demo on how to record sounds into Adobe Audition. I hope you're having a great week. Thanks for tuning in. So you'll notice that I have my WAV file here, and I also have this asset on the multitrack. What's really handy about multitrack editing is it's non-destructive, meaning that it's not going to destroy the WAV file, but instead it's going to edit it here in the session. I can grab this, I can move it around. If I want to clip off that beginning, I can grab the razor blade. I can clip off the beginning. I can clip off the end. I can select those chunks and delete them, but I'm just deleting them from this project. I'm not deleting them from the image. Now think about in InDesign, if you bring a photo into InDesign and you use the InDesign object box to crop in on that photo, you haven't edited the photo. You've only changed how that photo is going to display in your final PDF out of InDesign. Same thing here. I haven't edited the audio file. I've only cropped it in this multi-track session. Another super handy thing, if I zoom in, so I can zoom in by grabbing these, I can zoom in with the scroll wheel. This is one of my favorite parts about Audition and how smooth it is. So you see this little gray box here? If I've got a sound and I want it to fade in at the beginning, I can just grab this, and then you'll hear, hello, welcome to Media. There's like a subtle fade in as it comes. Make it a little more. Hello, welcome to Media Design. So there. And I can fade it out at the end. And you can see here it's like how strong or gentle do you want the fade out to be? I hope you're having a great week. Thanks for tuning in. So let's say I also have decided that I want to eliminate part in the middle, for example. If I want to edit this more sounds into Adobe Audition. I hope you're having a great week. Let's say I want to take that part out because I think it sounds cheesy. I can cut here and here. Select the arrow key or the arrow tool by hitting the V key and delete. And now I can drag this. This is one of my other favorite parts about Audition as you're working, especially if you're trying to kind of like heal sounds or cut out a click or a glitch or something, is when you take these two sounds or two chunks of the sound or two different sounds, whatever they are, if they're on the same track, as you bring them closer together, when you start to overlap them, they automatically will fade one to the next, which helps blend them together. Another really handy thing. Okay, so that's my voiceover. So I'm going to hit save. And then I also wanted to show you a little bit about how you can record multiple sounds into one track. So I'm going to disarm this first track, I'm also going to mute it so I won't hear it anymore. See, the color went away. When I hit play, I don't hear it anymore. That's because now I want to work on this one. So I have an object here, and I want to record several different sounds that this object makes. My object is a junk mail envelope. So I'm going to call this junk mail. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to record multiple but individual sounds of different sounds that this junk mail envelope makes. So I have it here in my hand. You can hear it's kind of crumply. It's kind of wiggly. It's teary. It's a junk mail envelope. You know what it is, right? It's got plastic window, the whole bit. So I'm going to record multiple sounds of this, but before each sound, I'm also going to say what the sound is. That way, when I'm all done, when I have my final audio files, I also have a verbal reminder of what each sound was. Because if you do one or two, you can keep it straight. But if you have to do like 10 or 15 different sound effects, or if you're just playing around with stuff and recording, you're going to want to know what your recordings were later. So whenever you're doing recordings, it's really handy to get in the habit of introducing an audio tag at the beginning of your file. So now I'm going to arm this recording, or this track, I should say, and this is junk mail. So my first one is, I'm just going to wiggle it. Junk mail wiggling. And then I'll stop it. And you'll notice I paused. Then I said junk mail wiggling, which is what I did. Then I paused again so that there's like a really clean edit spot. And then I did it. Notice here, it also said like junk mail 2. Great. Now I can move the playhead down here, and I can do another one, and it's going to start recording right here, another junk mail sound. Junk mail, plastic window. And then I'm going to do a third one. So I'll move the playhead back down here. Junk mail, tearing. So there. So I have my 3 different recordings of my object, and they are all separate files, and they're in the right order. And what's super handy is that they are recorded in such a way that I not only have my audio tag, but they also have space in front of them. So hopefully that's helpful. As always, reach out if you have any questions.